Hey everybody, welcome back to Works on My Machine, where I'm sharing open source demos of different AI experiments that we've been working on. For this week, I wanted to share a demo related to this recent post by Steve Yegge titled Revenge of the Junior Developer. In the post, he talks about the evolution of AI coding strategies, starting with code completions and chat-based programming to the current hot topic vibe coding, and then going off into the future with coding agents, agent clusters, and agent fleets. And for this demo, I thought it would be really interesting to start to explore what it might look like to work with agent clusters and agent fleets. And so I've put together this sublayer agent combined with Aider, which is a coding an open source coding agent that has a scripting interface, and start to see what it would feel like to actually work with agent clusters. So for this, I've put together this this Rails app that's a to-do list app that's got tasks, it's got a task controller, and set up an Asana project that has a handful of bugs in it. I'm going to get the agent running here, and one of the bugs that we've got, let's assign this to the bug fix agent, is that the task list should only display incomplete tasks. Looks like it's showing all the tasks, whether they're complete or incomplete, but should only show incomplete tasks. So we've assigned this to a bug fix agent, and what we have here is a sublayer agent that's set up to be triggered anytime an Asana ticket gets assigned to it. It's also set up to use GPT-4o, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and Gemini 2.0 Flash. So anytime the trigger event happens, what the agent does, it takes its step, it pulls down the Asana task information that it was assigned, and then loops through each of the models. And for each of them, it creates a new branch and runs Aider with that particular model with the task information. And then once Aider is done, it makes a commit, creates a PR, and then also, for our purposes of debugging, it creates a comment with Aider's output onto the PR so we can look and see how it did. And so, like I said, Aider has a scripting interface. So what we've kind of done here is taken the Asana information and put it into a prompt where we've received a bug, titled this with a description of that, and then tell it, come up with a plan on how to tackle it, thinking about and writing the test first, and then implementing it. And it does this for all three of those models. So let's see where it's at. All three of the PRs are in. Oh, that's interesting. So it looks like, we've got GPT-4o here. The tests have passed. It task.where completed false, and it wrote a little test here, and that the tasks are all not completed. Let's look at the Aider output here. It looked at the relevant files, it looked at the plan, and then let's scroll down here. One of the interesting parts here, this one, it took 3 cents to use GPT-4o. Let's go here. All three of them passed. So what's interesting is that they don't always pass. We do get 1 or 2 failures on the different models occasionally, but for whatever reason, this time it all passed, which is also really interesting. So GPT-4o was 3 cents. Claude was 6 cents this time. And let's go up and see how Claude did this. Looks like this one decided to create a scope, incomplete, and made a controller test to check that. And let's see what Gemini did. Gemini only changed one file. Interesting. Where completed false. It looks like it didn't actually write any new tests. So maybe that's one of the reasons it passed this time. It also only cost 1/10 of a cent to get that. So do with that what do with that what you will. But you can also see the output and see how it thinks, and go back and modify the prompt, depending on which models are performing well or not. Um, but see here, all we did was assign this ticket to our agent, and a couple, maybe a minute later, we had 3 PRs. I wrote a post a while back titled "Waste Inferences," and I think this is a great example of that principle at work. In particular, these, using these different models, each of them has different strengths. You could see each of them implemented this slightly different. And so for each different task, a different model is likely to be, is likely to be better than one or the other. And I think that's okay, especially if you have things set up to run with all the different models. And you could see that this is a small demo app, but we're talking like it's 20 cents. And even if some of these tasks would have failed, there would have been useful code here to look at, useful information to look at that can happen out of band of your day-to-day work, which I find very, very interesting. I also have I have also been experimenting with, phrasing features as bugs to play with these models, but it hasn't necessarily worked just yet. And we've already spent way too much time on this video. But the other thing I do want to kind of comment here is that, Steve Yegi talks about, this is agent clusters in the second half of 2025, agent fleets starting in 2026. But I think what this shows me is that, we can start to experiment with these things today and start to get a feel for what it's going to feel like as the models get better, as some infrastructure gets built, and we can start planning ahead on being able to fully utilize these, if not when they're ready, down when he predicts them, but maybe today. I think the other thing I've been thinking about from this post is that he talks about increasing budgets, and for big legacy apps, I'm sure that's we're not talking about the 5 and 3 cents that we saw in the PRs there, the 10th of a cent from Gemini. But I am curious to see if new architectures start to pop up that do make it possible to make a dozen PRs and do a bunch of retries and still be under a nickel or under a quarter for doing a bunch of these iterations, which really does unlock the fleet or cluster metaphor or swarm idea, and not actually break the bank. Definitely not break the bank compared to actually having a person do that. But yeah, I think that's I personally found this interesting. I hope some of you out there found it interesting, and if this inspires you to give it a shot, like always, this code is open source. It's all available. So if you try it out, let me know. If you find any other AI coding agents that are scriptable, I would love to check them out. So please let me know. And yeah, curious to hear what this makes you all think. Thanks for watching this far. I'll see you next week. Thanks.